How's the weather? Well, when I'm looking that way, I'm looking out the window. It's a little gray today here in Kerala. It's June and it's the rainy season, so it's kind of a nice day actually. In New York State, where I'm from, we would think that's a horrible day because it rains way too much. We want sun in New York State. So the weather here in Kerala, India on let me look at my phone, June 29th, 2016 is actually really good. I like the rainy season. Hello everyone. I'm Jennifer Kumar coming to you from Kochi, India on the Small Talk Tips series. Now we are exploring the question, how's the weather? Now in India, this is not such a common question to ask in small talk. Although it's gaining popularity, I've noticed, especially with people who do work with foreigners, they're more familiar with this question, especially Westerner foreigners like Canadians, Americans, British people. We tend to complain about the weather in our countries quite a bit. Even if it's what we want, we still complain. We are never, ever happy with the weather. But in India, people don't really tend to ask so much about the weather because in each season, if you want to call it that, the weather is quite predictable. It doesn't change so vastly in one day. For instance, in New York State, we could wake up with snow on the ground and 30 degrees Fahrenheit temperature. And then by midday, it could be, 80 degrees, no snow, super hot. And we're wearing shorts. So we went from wearing a coat with big hat and woolens and everything covered up completely in the morning to wearing shorts and a tank top in the middle of the day. So the weather is a little bit bipolar, if you want to say that, in New York State and in many places in the U.S. You'll see a lot of memes like that floating around on Facebook, like weather in Kansas morning and it shows snow, and noontime it shows sun, and evening time it shows a tornado or something like that. So Americans tend to like to talk about the weather. It's a very, safe topic. Nobody really ever gets offended about it. I don't think I've ever heard anyone get offended about it. But people always have something to say about it. And usually it's not positive, even if they've been waiting for that. So you just have to take that with a grain of salt. Although in the How Was Your Day video, I suggested that we always answer positive because we should never answer negative. Maybe this is the exception. We in the U.S. do tend to complain about the weather, and it's considered okay to be a little negative about the weather. But people usually laugh it off yeah, it's snowing again, but what can you do? That's just where we live. You have to deal with it, that kind of thing. So in India, when you call your U.S. counterparts or Canadian or English counterparts, you can definitely start off by, how's the weather? And they might go into talking about their commute to work or, that they had to scrape the ice off their car if it's the wintertime, or, that the commute was good because, the snow melted and the roads were quite clear, or whatever, those kind of stuff. Now, if you're not really comfortable with that because you're not familiar with snow, because a lot of people in Kerala, India would never have experienced snow, that's okay. You can ask questions. So say this is the conversation. So how's the weather? Yeah, it could be better. It's snowing, but what you're going to do, it's where we live. So you in India say, oh, snow, we've never had that in Kerala. I heard it gets really cold when it snows. Is it cold there right now? And then the person in the U.S. would be like, yeah, it's actually pretty cold. It's 15 degrees. And don't forget that's Fahrenheit. 15 degrees. And I hate coming in to work in this weather. It's just so super cold. And, even when you breathe, you can see your breath in the air because it's so cold. And then the person in India says, oh, I've never experienced that. Maybe someday I will. And then you can transition into the business talk. So this is a common question. How was the weather? And, you can answer this question if your American counterpart asks you too, even though it's not that common in India, at least in Kerala where I'm living. How's the weather? It's the rainy season. We kind of like the rainy season here in Kerala. And then the American will say, rain, we don't really like rain here. We want it to be sunny. And then you could say, oh, yeah, I heard it rains a lot in your part of the world. So I'm sure you're looking forward to some sunny days. So this has been Jennifer Kumar from Authentic Journeys, hoping you have a lot of sunny or rainy days in your life, depending on what you prefer. For more tips on small talk and how to interact and build better, more effective working relationships with your U.S. counterparts, please come to authenticjourneys.info. Search the blog by going to the top right-hand side of authenticjourneys.info. Type in whatever question you have about American business culture. There are about 750 articles at the time of this video being made, and I'm sure you'll find an answer to what your question is all about. So see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.